So we talked about how Pandas series solves that problem of us having to remember the position of every item in our data set. So when we're reaching for an item, instead of saying get me the value of the item in position 0, we could say get me the value of the item apples, which is more natural. So over here I have Pandas already imported, and here I have a data set of fruits. So we got 3 sales for apples, 7 sales for bananas, and 11 sales for oranges. And so the labels on the left here are your indices. This is how you define what those items in your series are. So here I could do fruits dot location, and in here you see how Visual Studio Code automatically pulls up all my indices for all the items that I have in my series. So let's say I want to get the value of the apple sales. If I just run that, we get the value 3. If you wrap this in your print statement, that removes the numpy references here. So if I run it again, here we go, we get the number 3. I could also do print fruits dot iloc or ilocation, and here I'll provide the positional index. So if I want to say get me the item in position 1, which in this case is bananas, if I run this, here we go, we get the number 7. Now you might be wondering, in a previous video I did show you how you could just do fruits, and then here I could either provide bananas, or we could do fruits and the position of 3 or 2. And if I wrap both of these here in a print statement, we get them both populated. But as you can see here, there's a future warning saying that this is no longer going to be accepted. You're not going to be able to treat the keys as positions, so you cannot provide your indices in future versions of Pandas. But even if this was not the case, using your square brackets are ambiguous. You don't really know, am I reaching for an item by its label, or am I reaching by its position? If I copy this one over here, and let's create another set, let's just call it X, and I happen to change my indices so that they start with the number 1 instead. So I have 1, 2, and 3. Now, it could be very ambiguous if I try to print out the item X2. Am I reaching for it by position? Am I trying to get this item right here? Or am I getting it by label and I'm trying to get this item here, which in that case would be 7. This is where the location and the index location functions here help remove this ambiguity and make it so clear for us to know exactly what item are you trying to reach, whether that is by position or by the label that you've defined for your series. Now also keep in mind, if I try to get fruits with the index location, and instead I did provide bananas instead of the actual index, this would actually give us a type error that says you cannot index by location index using a non-integer key, which is what we're providing here. Similarly, if I swap this and I actually try to access the item number 1, but I'm using the location function instead of the index location function, we would get another error here. It's a key error, basically saying we don't have an item with that key. So in this particular case, because technically your keys could be either strings or numbers or whatever you want them to be, this error here basically says we do not have an item with that key right now. Now, beyond actually accessing our values, Pandas also gives us kind of a quick stats functions that we could use to get some insights about our data. So let me create another section for stats here, and let's go ahead and try that. So I could do something like get me the fruits dot mean, and that will get you the average of all the numbers in your series here. So the average of your values 3, 7, and 11 is actually 7. We could also do something like fruits dot sum, and that will add up all the sales, and it comes back with the value of 21. And then we also have a function called describe, which actually does all of those and more. So not only you get a count of how many items do you have in your series, you get your mean, you get your standard deviation, the minimum value, the maximum value, and the 25th, 50th, and 75th quartiles here. So to summarize what we talked about in this video, when you're trying to access your items within a series, you want to use either the location or the index location functions to remove the ambiguity of are you trying to reach an item by its index or by its label. And we also talked about some of the stats functions that you could use in your Pandas series. And there's a lot more than I actually just showed you. Feel free to explore and find what else could you do to get some more insights about your data. Next, we'll see how we can take a regular Python dictionary and convert that or turn that into a Pandas series, which makes creating labeled data even easier.